scenario, and then you'd run the red herrings. So you'd have stuff that we used to track, because before the internet, we would track how many terrorist events would happen in a
internet.
In a three-week period. So we're reading the New York Times and Wall Street Journal tearing it apart.
A couple committees on secret have to do it like
that. Well, you go back to '85. We did the regular simulation, INS. That's what they call INS, simulation gaming for that. Then we did a Versailles Treaty of Versailles game. At the same time, we brought back the old, because we had a couple of old guys who were fossils and didn't know this. So we gave them Versailles, let them rerun it, and we made 3 changes to see if it changed the outcome of Versailles, what have you, on that stuff. So
cool.
It was just wild. We had. I don't know if you guys remember.
You gotta ask the hotel on some of the prices that they go through here.
With us, yeah. Martin was is a friend of mine. We in Los Angeles. We played hoops together, and then he was with Hilton for a number of years, and so he remembers. He started this hotel and remembers us knuckleheads coming in and doing this.
Started this hotel.
Started my career here.
Yeah. So it's but this is the kind of stuff we did. I mean, I'm now give you this gaming. It's called gaming. It's been cleaned up to do gaming. I'm in so called the West Coast arm of the Council on Foreign Relations. Yeah. We're redoing a game, a China game and a U.S. game on the Pacific. Yep. On the Western Pacific.
A war game, more or less?
Not a war game, but a diplomatic game. It's what happens if what happens when someone says this is my sovereign water and this is internationalizing.
And you're doing it in like present day modern.
We're doing current, and we're using former.
Wow.
We've got current military, former military.
So who's participating in the game?
I'm just telling you. Former military. These
I'm just
guys,
way enthusiastic.
People my vintage and older.
Your vintage.
And the guys that are, and we're doing this. It looks like we're going to be doing this on the USS George Washington when it's in harbor in San Diego. So we're going to have all the computers and all the setup of all of the U.S. Department of Navy to allow us to do this game. And people are like, how can you do this? They said, how do you know about this stuff? And I said, well, we set up a control game, and I did this, a multi-gaming element back then. We did this at Georgetown, and we would every day was an hour, and it's still been good for these guys. It is easier to stay. It is so hard to stay ahead of your customer. To work this hard and stay ahead of your customer on these kinds of things is not to be taken for granted. To have something that's 25 years old, it was 26 years ago when I did this, to still be relevant. Look how many things have died in that time frame. How many things where the internet's beating it out of them on this other stuff. I mean, you've died. Look, you guys have still done this stuff and been relevant. That's the magic that you guys have done. Don't sell yourself short because you don't have the time to play games and do all these other elements. There's still your research. You got 31 committees. You got freshmen writing your papers. I mean, people are doing an extra paper for you guys. Have you ever really thought about it? How crazy you guys are? You get an extra research paper, another 30-page paper done with this. It's been maps and tamped up, and you've stayed ahead of all the internet and the distribution, all that kind of stuff. Not to be sold short.
This is an interview question. What does NAIMUN mean to you 29 years later after running this conference?
You're 20 years old, you can do anything. You can do anything. Yeah. All right.
How many delegates were?
3,100. I had 3,100 kids.
Wow.
We had 3,100 kids, and we went down.
What are you guys up to?
We're about 3,000.
Yeah. You have 60 more countries. There's 60 more countries. There's 60 more embassy briefings. That's more schools, more this other, and also the work at Georgetown's harder. So you guys are carrying bigger caseloads and get bigger workloads than you have right now. To do that, do not sell that stuff short.
Of course, you can always call